Happy draft week, Commanders fans. Today on the show, I'm going to be giving you guys the latest on the Jayden Daniels craziness that has happened here over the last 5 days or so. I'm going to let you know where Daniels and the Commanders stand just a couple of days away from the start of the 2024 NFL Draft. Then we'll also talk about the possibility of maybe trading for Brandon Aiyuk this week. It might not be as far-fetched as you may think. And then also, ESPN came out with their latest 7-round mock draft for your Washington Commanders. I'll react to that for you guys at the end of today's show. But before we get into today's news and rumors coverage, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And join us on Thursday night where we're going to be going live right here on the channel. Where we're going to be reacting live to the Commanders taking their pick there at number 2, whether it's Jayden Daniels, whether it's Drake May, whether it's J.J. McCarthy, whether it's, dare I say it, Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix. I don't think it's going to be one of those two, but no matter who they take at number 2 overall, we're going to have you guys covered with live coverage right here for free on YouTube. So make sure you click that subscribe button and join us Thursday night. So before we talk about all the stuff today, I do want to kind of announce here that Schefter, edge rusher for the Washington Commanders, that of course was suspended for an entire season for breaking the rules when it comes to gambling in the National Football League. Sports gambling has been released by the Washington Commanders today, which yet leaves another hole in this edge rusher room here in Washington heading into the first year of the Dan Quinn era. I can certainly say as we approach the NFL draft on Thursday, edge rusher remains a huge team need for this roster heading into the weekend. So with that being said, let's move to today's top story, which surrounds Jayden Daniels, projected number 2 overall pick in last year's Heisman Trophy winner, where now the reports are starting to come out that he has mended his kind of frustrations, I guess we can call them, with the Washington Commanders for how they handled that mass top 30 visit that they had last week at Topgolf, where they had all their top prospects come in for a single visit. This is Denise White. She represents Jayden Daniels in like the PR department, and she's been kind of cleaning house on Twitter here ever since Ron Baker, his agent, kind of liked a couple tweets that indicated that Daniels wasn't happy with the process that the Washington Commanders were going over. Denise said Jayden Daniels is excited to be a part of the NFL, and wherever he is drafted, he will be happy to be a part of that organization. And then, of course, today, Adam Schefter went on ESPN, and this is what he had to say about the latest on Jayden Daniels. Heisman Trophy-winning quarterback Jayden Daniels out of LSU knows he's entering the draft, not free agency, which is why he is ready to accept wherever he is selected and attempt to become the face of that franchise. While Daniels would have liked more face time with the Commanders officials during his visit last week, which included 3 of the other top quarterbacks in the class, the signs continue to point to Washington taking him at number 2. The Commanders have been highly impressed with Daniels' abilities, and they are not alone. One NFL head coach whose team is not in the quarterback market said he would take Daniels over Caleb Williams out of USC, saying it's a no-brainer to me. Jayden looks like the best guy in this draft. Another head coach compared Daniels to Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson. If you pick Daniels, you're getting Lamar 2.0, but he's further along as a passer than Lamar was when he came out, the coach said. So listen, man, I do think that this is the right pick for the Washington Commanders. I think when you take in all of the different differing factors that kind of go into this equation of which quarterback the Commanders should take, I think you look at Daniels as somebody that's a super high upside player. I mean, we know Lamar Jackson has won 2 MVP trophies in his time with the Baltimore Ravens here in the National Football League, and people are saying this guy is an improved version of him. I mean, goodness gracious, that is something and an opportunity that just doesn't come around very often, and he pairs that with really clean throwing mechanics, great base when he plays within structure, and he's also really good at mentally processing the game. So I think he's got that relatively high floor mixed with a really high ceiling. I think this is clearly the pick at number 2 overall for the Washington Commanders. But ESPN's Bill Barnwell has another possibility here for the Washington Commanders, where if they feel like Jayden Daniels and Drake May are kind of neck and neck, he proposes that the Commanders could trade down to number 3 with the New England Patriots, and they could select Drake May, presumably if the Patriots take Daniels at number 2 overall. This is the trade offer here that he proposes, where you would move down to number 3, but you would pick up a third rounder this year, number 68 overall. It's a pretty darn good day 2 draft pick there, and then you pick up 2 picks next year, a second and a fourth. I mean, if you could add another second-round pick, that is really valuable. So if you have Drake May and Jayden Daniels, very similar grades, you don't really care which one you get, this is definitely something that I would consider if I were GM Adam Peters. So let me know down there in the comments section, would you accept this trade? Type A if you're going to accept it, or type D if you're going to decline it. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time, but give me an A or a D down there in the comments. So for me personally, guys, I would decline this trade offer, and the reasoning for that is pretty simple. I have quite a bit of a gap between Jayden Daniels and Drake May in terms of my grading throughout this process. There's enough of a gap there between Jayden and the rest of the pack of quarterbacks here where I do think that I would want to stay put at number 2 and take the Heisman Trophy winner out of LSU and make him my next franchise quarterback. And this is backed up what Adam Peters said last week at his pre-draft press conference. They want to stay at number 2. So that tells me that they have a clear-cut guy that they are targeting at this point in the process. And based on what I've seen on the film this offseason, throughout this process, Jayden Daniels is that guy that is the clear number 2 worth sticking at number 2 for. So now coming up here on the Commanders Report, I'm going to talk about a potential Brandon Aiyuk trade for the Washington Commanders this week, and whether or not it's possible. I think it's not quite as far-fetched as you may think. But before we get into it, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at Game Time. And Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. I'm somebody that likes to get tickets last minute, guys. So whenever I want to go to an MLB baseball game or an NBA basketball game, or if I want to go to a concert, all I have to do is pull out my Game Time app on my phone, and it's a super easy to use interface where I can see the view from my seat before I buy the tickets. 2 taps and you're set, and it's super, super easy to use. Plus, they have the lowest price guaranteed on any ticketing app out there, so you don't need to shop around on all these different ticketing apps. I know Game Time has the lowest price guaranteed, and they have flash deals right before game time, so you know so if you're someone like me that likes to get tickets last minute, Game Time is absolutely perfect for you. Game Time is the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States of America and is the only ticketing app on the market that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive at the arena, and tickets are sent directly to your phone instead of your email. Another great feature that makes using Game Time a breeze. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps. It's right down there in the bottom of your screen for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS, one word, all caps, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So now let's talk about Brandon Aiyuk here, where he hinted on a recent Instagram story that he and Jayden Daniels might be looking to link up in the National Football League heading into 2024. I mean, we look at Brandon Aiyuk, and he has definitely been hinting that he wants a trade out of San Francisco, and he was FaceTiming his friend Jayden Daniels, and he said in the post, "Brother said we got 6 days and it's fireworks." Now, of course, people are speculating that these two want to combine their talents in the National Football League, and if Jayden Daniels is the pick at number 2, like I expect, why not bring in Brandon Aiyuk if you can get a deal that is worth bringing in this guy that was just a second-team All-Pro wide receiver? He's a great run blocker as well, one of the best route runners in the National Football League. And you take a look at his kind of career trajectory here. Every single year, this guy has been getting better. Right, 7 touchdowns last year, over 1,300 yards, second-team All-Pro, and 75 catches, at least 75 catches the last 2 years there in San Fran. He was their number 1 receiving target for Brock Purdy. And why not bring these two guys together? They work out in the offseason together. They obviously have chemistry. Now, if you can get them for the right price, I would absolutely consider this. If I am Adam Peters, if I can expedite this process of rebuilding this roster and I can get Aiyuk for a pretty decent deal, I am absolutely going to do that. However, I'm not going to overpay for him, all right? I'm not going to give up like next year's first-round pick or something ridiculous like that. This is something that I would entertain if I were GM Adam Peters. I would get Brandon Aiyuk, and in exchange, I would give the 49ers our first second-round pick this year, number 36, and I'd give them the middle third-round pick that we have at number 78 overall. I think this is a pretty fair deal. Now, are there other teams that might be willing to kind of offer more to the 49ers? It's absolutely possible. I think the Niners probably want at least one first-round pick in a potential deal. But really, if I'm the Commanders, I'm not willing to overpay here, so this is the price that I'd be willing to pay. So let me know down there in the comment section. Would you accept this trade? Type Y if you would accept it, or type N for no, you would not accept it. Can't wait to see how you're feeling about this potential Brandon Aiyuk trade idea. So let's finish up today's show with a reaction to a 7-round mock draft from Jordan Reed from ESPN. It's his final mock draft, all 7 rounds. Some pretty interesting stuff here for the Commanders, so let's get into it. Starting with the number 2 pick. I mean, everybody at ESPN right now is projecting Jayden Daniels at number 2 overall. This is an easy A grade for me because this is exactly what I would do if I were Adam Peters, the GM, so we don't have to spend too much time on that. And hold on, guys, we have a trade here. Jordan Reed is projecting that the Washington Commanders are going to trade back into the first round with the Baltimore Ravens, who currently have the number 30 overall pick. And he has the Commanders moving up just 6 spots and giving up that number 78 overall pick. So essentially exactly what we just offered San Francisco for Brandon Aiyuk. That's what we're giving up to the Baltimore Ravens in this deal. I'm not in love with this deal, guys, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I could certainly see the Commanders looking to trade up into round 1 there Thursday night. And with this pick, Jordan Reed has the Commanders taking Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. And I'm going to give this one a B, guys. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Guyton. I think, Jordan Morgan is on the board at this point in this mock draft. I would have much rather had him. I think Guyton needs a little bit of time to develop and mature his game. I think he's kind of raw coming out. Now, the Commanders can kind of take on kind of a more raw offensive tackle prospect, especially with the one with a guy like Guyton who has a massive amount of upside along with him. He's got long arms. He's a great mover in space, big body, all these different things that you like to see in a potential left tackle. But I would have probably rather had Jordan Morgan here, so I'll just give it a B. Then in round 2, pick number 40, they have the Commanders taking Adisa Isaac, the edge rusher out of Penn State. And you guys know I'm lower on Isaac, all right? I have currently a late round 3, early round 4 grade on Isaac because I don't see the pass rushing upside with him. I think he's somebody that can survive on early downs in the National Football League as a run defender. He's already really good at that. But if you're going to be taking an edge rusher to be hopefully your number 1 guy moving forward, you got to have a better pass rushing skill set than Isaac has, and I don't see a projectable pathway for him to become a number 1 edge rusher in the National Football League. So I'll give this one a D because there's still plenty of good edge rushers on the board at this point that I think would be better picks. Then also, then we get to round 3, and they have Kamari Lassiter, cornerback out of Georgia, going to Washington, and I don't like the fit here whatsoever. I think Lassiter and like a true Vic Fangio style system, if Lassiter would have came out last year and the Commanders would have taken him, I would have loved this fit, all right, because I think he's better in off coverage, instincts, reading the eyes of the quarterback, all that great stuff. But Washington wants guys that can play in press and can play in man coverage, and that's just not Lassiter's game because he doesn't have the long speed to really back it up. So I'm going to give that one a D as well. Don't love that fit. And then round 3 again, at number 100, Marshawn Lloyd, running back out of USC. I like Lloyd as a player, kind of a third down back, but I really don't think that the Commanders need more running backs. You got Brian Robinson Jr., you're bringing in Austin Eckler. I like Chris Rodriguez Jr. Out of Kentucky from last year's draft class as well. Here in round 3, I'm not sure if this is a great value for the Commanders, so I'll give it a C. Then in round 5, Ainias Smith, the wide receiver out of Texas A&M. I'll give it a C because he's going to bring some value in terms of special teams. He might be your kickoff return man this year, so at least you have that going for him. But he's really small. He's undersized. I don't love how he projects as a wide receiver at the next level. Also in round 5, Tip Reitman, tight end out of Illinois. Really, really talented player. I mean, this guy can move like most tight ends just can't move, but he's extremely raw. He's going to have to develop. He probably won't see the field a whole lot in his rookie season. If you're going to get Tip Reitman here in round 5, you're hoping Zach Ertz can really help his development as he heads into the early years of his career. But overall, in round 5, this is a good value. I'll give it a B. Then in round 7, Kingsley Aguakun. I hope I'm saying that, Aguakun. However you say it, producer Coop. I don't love it. I mean, I think that he's more of a backup center type. I don't really see him as a guard in the National Football League. Don't think he has the size to do that. So I'll give that one a C. But let me know down there in the comments section. I'm going to give you my grade here for this mock in just a second. But first, give me yours. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F down there in the comments section for ESPN 7-round Commanders mock draft. For me personally, guys, I'm going to give it a C+. And really, the Adisa Isaac pick and then the Kamari Lassiter pick in the middle rounds really killed this one for me. I mean, you're getting Jayden Daniels, who I think is legitimately going to give you the best chance to be a franchise quarterback out of the quarterbacks available. So I like that pick, but after that, I would have rather had Jordan Morgan at pick 30, and then the next 2 picks really did put a damper on things for me. So I'll give it a C+. Hopefully Adam Peters and Dan Quinn do a better job than what this mock draft does, at least in my opinion. Now, that'll be it for today's show, guys. I really do appreciate all of your support. Again, make sure you click that subscribe button because we're going to have more premium Commanders content coming your way all throughout draft week, 100% free. So if you love the Commanders, you don't want to miss a thing this week, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now.